my teacher colleagues, my dear students, and as I can see, some of the research scholars also who have joined us today, this morning, on this two-day national online workshop based on the theme of striving for human security efforts from the field. This workshop has been jointly organized by DAICT, Sophia College, and Amity University. And I would like to also introduce at this point the members and my colleagues from the department. First, Dr. Alka Parekh, who is the convener of this workshop. Dr. Nandini Vashisht, who is from Amity University. Myself, Ms. Sangeeta Dubey. My department colleagues, Ms. Sunita Jadhav and Ms. Nisha Yadav. This workshop has been conceived and designed by Professor Alka Parekh from the AICT. The idea, pattern, and topic of the workshop was designed by her, and she chose the organization who would befit this workshop. The format of the workshop has also been planned by her, and hence she would be the right person to introduce and explain the spirit of the workshop to the audience. Before I invite Professor Alka Parekh, just a note for all the participants. Participants will be given the certificates only if they attend 4 sessions in all. I invite Professor Alka Parekh to give the introductory remarks for the workshop. Professor Alka Parekh, over to you.
Yeah, before I start, I just wanted to say that all those who have come from the NGOs, the speakers who are going to be talking to us, if you could just say hello. So we will start with Mr. Sandeep Singh Gill. Can you just say hello to our students and say which organization you are from?
Hello, good morning everyone. Good morning students. I'm Sandeep Gill from the Akshay Patra Foundation, and we have been running midday meals across the country and even in Gujarat through 11 centralized kitchens. So I welcome you all here in this session, and a very, very good morning and a welcome from my side to you all.
Yeah, Babu Bhai.
Good morning to all of you. I am Babu Bhai from Utthan. Utthan is working in Gujarat, coastal and tribal area. I belong to tribal area. I am last 26 years working with Utthan in tribal area. Alkaben is our board members. So thank you for giving opportunity to the students. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anybody else from any other organization who is here right now? No.
Hello.
Yeah, somebody's there. Yes. Is someone there? No. Okay, fine. So then.
Are you hear me? Are you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would like to now start with my welcome to you all. I warmly welcome you to this unique experiment. We have students from 3 institutes sitting over here. Students of Information Technology from DICT, students of Economics from Sophia College, and students of Liberal Arts from Amity University. Students with 3 different backgrounds ready to discuss the issues that are important for the society. This is going to be an interesting experience. This workshop is unique in one more way also. Usually, one institute organizes a program and faculty members and students from other institutes are invited to join in. But here, faculty members from 3 different institutes came together to organize an event. We have seen intercollegiate competitions, haven't we? But rarely do we see intercollegiate cooperation. We want to use the online platform that the technology has provided us and allow like-minded people across universities to work together. We would like to promote cooperation that enables interdisciplinary exchange of ideas and maybe in future promote interdisciplinary field projects. Today, the faculty members are working together Tomorrow, we hope that students of different places from across India would bring their energies together and organize such co-curricular events jointly on a large scale. Now, about the topic of the workshop. When we talk about human security, it means various forces that threaten the human existence. It can be war, crimes, hunger, shortage of basic necessities, climate change, and so on. The courses related to human development and welfare that are taught at educational institutes are generally the ones which define the context. They give the problems. But in this workshop, we are not raising problems. We are bringing in people who have tried out solutions. This is a solution-based workshop. If you're a well-meaning citizen, at some point in your life, you're bound to ask the question that what can I do to help my people? So it is important to have some knowledge about what other people have done to address these issues and how they have done it effectively. That is the objective of this workshop. The format of this workshop is designed accordingly. You may say that it is derived from the pedagogy and tradition of the Upanishads, like Kathopanishad and Kanopanishad, and even Bhagavad Gita. The student or the seeker poses a problem or an issue, and then the guru gives a detailed explanation. Here also, students of the participating institutes would describe the extent and dimension of a human security issue. Then the organizations would give a detailed answer of what can be done to address this issue. That would be followed by a discussion in which all the participants can contribute. I just want to tell the students that you can ask a question or just give a comment, or you might want to just give an idea or a suggestion. Feel free to join the discussion and make it enriching for everyone. You can also write down your comments in chat at any time if you feel like. With these words, now I start the workshop sessions. We are starting with food security. Dharmik and Devanshi, who are the students of DICT, would be giving the introduction, followed by the presentation by Akshay Patra. True to its name, Akshay Patra is the patra which is always overflowing with food. They feed delicious midday meals to lakhs of children. What is equally interesting to know is that they use automated kitchens to cook the meals in a very hygienic manner. It is an inspiring effort. The General Manager of Operations in Gujarat, Mr. Sandeep Singh Gill, will be giving this presentation. And I request all the presenters to switch on their cameras now. Our next session is going to be on health security. The introduction will be given by Fenil and Prerak. The invited NGOs is Uplift India Association. Every hour, with the efforts of Uplift, about 7,000 people are saved from slipping into poverty. I want you to know that Uplifts is the first health insurance model that I know of that takes care of primary and preventive health care. It is also the only health insurance model in India wherein the members are the decision makers. They decide whom to accept as members and how much reimbursement should be given for a claim. Uplift is invited here for the holistic and unique approach to health issues that they have successfully implemented in the field. And the managing director of Uplift India Association, Mr. Shailab Kumar, is going to be talking to us in the next session. So with this, now I hand over the mic to the two students, Devanshi and Dharmik, who would be giving the introduction about food security. Devanshi and Dharmik.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we'll begin now. So hello, good morning to all of you. I, Dharmik Desai, along with my friend Devanshi Prajapati, are going to present some points on food security. So first of all, what is food security? That is a question arises in our mind. So food security means that all the people at all time have access to sufficient food, which means no one should go hungry. Additionally, the food should also be nutritious. There are four aspects of food security, as you can see in the screen itself. Food availability. So, what does it mean? It means that the nation should either have enough production of food or they should have enough money to import sufficient amount of food. That means food should be available at all times. Food accessibility means that the sheer availability is not enough. People should also have enough money to buy that food. Food utilization stands for, because only getting food is not okay. In addition, this food should also have enough nutrition, which includes like carbohydrates, minerals, fats, which are very important for our body. These points are emphasized by food utilization. And food stability states that the food access should not fluctuate between seasons and should remain stable throughout the whole year. Now, Devanshi will take over.
Thank you, Dharmik, and good morning, everyone. I will be discussing why is it important to address food insecurity. India is noted to have the largest stock of grain in the world, which is 120 million tons. But still, it accounts for 1/4 of the world's food insecure population. That means nearly 47 million people. That is 4 out of 10 children do not meet their full human potential because of chronic undernutrition and stunting. As per the Global Hunger Index, in 2021, India was ranked very low, only 101 out of 116 of the qualifying countries. In addition to this, India has the largest number of undernutrition people in the world, that is 195 million. Now coming to midday meals. Hunger affects children much more than it affects adults. It stunts their physical growth and it makes it difficult for them to concentrate. They get distracted very easily. Thus, this leads to their mental growth also being affected. It is found that children that are getting midday meals have shown better growth. By 2016, the stunting was significantly lower in areas where the midday meals were implemented in the year 2005. That is why midday meals are important for ensuring proper growth of Indian children. Thank you.
So now I request Mr. Sandeep Singh Gill to start his presentation, please, on Akshay Patra.
Good morning, everybody. Am I laudable?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone out there listening to me. I'm Sandeep Singh Gill, General Manager Operations for Akshay Patra, Gujarat and Silvassa region. And I thank everyone, Madam Alka, also to give an opportunity for us to interact with everyone, the students, and even the other faculty people and the guests who are there. So I'll be talking in brief something about food security, and then I'll be touching up the UN Charter also on food security. And ultimately, it will carry me forward towards what Akshay Patra's role is in food security. So I think that will make sort of a touch base to all the areas from where we started and what is our aim and what is our vision. So to start with food security, let me give you an introduction about the food security as defined by the United Nations Committee on World Food Security. we should always understand what actually food security means. Everyone talks about personal security, health security, wealth security, and food security. It's of utmost importance to know what actually it means. Food security means that the people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their food preferences and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. So why we need food? We need food for our daily requirements, energy requirements. At the same time, we want to be active. We want to have nutritious and safe food so that we don't fall sick. So this all along in the life cycle of our life, we need food at various stages at the best possible option of getting it in the best quality form and in the safest and active form which we can utilize it. So that is food security, and it's a very big subject, and we need to go in detail to know more about that. So basically talking about that, major factors impacting food security, if we see in the world, all around us, there is changing climate, which affects the food security, the growing global population, which has a direct impact on food security, rising food prices, which makes it vulnerable that the people don't get the food at the right time, maybe not at the nutritional level what it should have, and the environmental stressors which we have, like the pollutions, the global warming, and so many things, and even the deforestation. So all these things, they are impacting the food security of our globe. And when it hampers the food security globe, the bowl, it affects directly each one of us. So urgently need from all of us is, being a citizen or being an individual and being a consumer, we all need to adapt to strategies and policies responsible to this global change. We should have conservation of our handling of our water allocation, the land use patterns, that is the lands near the oceans, the forests, and how well to use the lands, different patterns, whether farming, non-farming, grazing. So that has to be properly allocated and used in different patterns, which gives us the maximum output for the food to the bowl where people can get access to it. Then comes the land use patterns, is followed by the food trade. We have different food trade practices across the globe where we have food available in different states. Then different states have the different crop segments, and the crop segments, then we have different eating habits. And the storage of the food, post-harvest food processing is also a very much an important point, and controlling finally the food prices and the safety. So major factors were impacting of food security, which we have now discussed, and we really need to focus these impacts of the food security, which directly has an impact on our daily life and our daily requirements of the food and the dietary requirements which our body need. Aspects of food security, if you see, are availability, access, and the utilization. So food security comprises of the three things: the availability of the food, the access of the food, and the utilization. The availability of the food is the production, its processing, water and soil management, trade stockpiling. It's all which makes available food to all of us across the globe. Now, once the food is available, we have to have a good access to it. Otherwise, it's of no use to eat any of us. And its transportation and its marketing across the different countries, states is very important. And the logistics part plays a key role after storage, post-harvest and storage. The logistic parts, the transport and equitable distribution and makes it access to this food. And the marketing and the affordability linked with the purchasing power makes very convenient for any person to or individual to get access to this food. And there how we get the security of the food once we start utilization of the food which we have got. So the food, once it is utilized, it has gives good health. The food has to be nutritious so that we got all the dietary requirements. We have the food safety and quality aspects of the food are also linked to it. Then clean water and sanitization. It plays a major role in the food utilization when we link the impacts to the food security, because cleaning and sanitization is very important. Otherwise, there is no use. What are the actual benefits which are derived from the food security? Moving forward, I would like to throw some light on the UN United Nations Members Charter, which they envisaged in 2015. The UN adopted a blueprint on peace and prosperity for the people of the world, where they had 17 sustainable development goals the UN listed to improve health, education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. So these 17 sustainable development goals were laid down by the UN body, the member countries, in 2015, where all countries came up together so that the world is devoid of no poverty, there is zero hunger, there is good health and wellness, quality in education, and there is overall equality in the nations together. So this was a good role played by UN envisaged for the 230, the vision for the 230 with 17 sustainable developmental goals. And then we came with the food security in India, which still is a major concern. And according to UN, already discussed earlier in one of the captions, that there are nearly 195 million undernourished people in India, which is a quarter of the world's hunger burden. So roughly about 43% of children still in India are chronically undernourished. This is the data which is the UN India has given to us. And India ranks really at, as of now, 71 out of 113 major countries in terms of food security index as per 2020 data. So rank of India is 71 out of the 113 countries in terms of food security index data presented in 2020. So we have a long way to go, and we have to work in a very proactively meticulous way to come and reach and rise in the ladder. And if you see even the overall intake, if you see the India, we are falling short of an intake of the proteins. You know, we get carbohydrates, other basic nutrients in the food, but we are really lagging in terms of the protein intake, the vitamin, the minerals and nutrients, other nutrients, which is I think a concern for us. And we need to work on those aspects also, so that we get the real benefits data of the nutrition healthcare. Like you see, we have been going fortification in a big way for all our grains, rice, and even milk products we are fortifying, and we are fortifying our oils. So fortifications, that is in minerals and salts, all our foods, is a big leap by the government of India to give us all our nutrition, basic nutrition required in our dietary norms as prescribed by the government of India. So it's a concern for us, food security in India, but still we need to work continuously on day-to-day basis so that we are not left behind in the race with the entire world and other countries, as it is reflected in the United Nations Index. Okay, now we are coming on some laws by our government of India.
Excuse me, just 1 second. We have only 20 minutes for your presentation. So what I suggest is that it would be better if you concentrate on the exact efforts of Akshay Patra.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm coming to that. Yes, because I thought that let me touch these also 2-3 slides, and then I'll just come to Akshay Patra also.
Because these students have lectures, so we have very tight schedule. So that's why I just wanted to tell you.
So I just want to touch the initial, it's a big subject. So I thought that I'll touch base the initial introduction.
Sure. But yeah, the emphasis should be more on Akshay Patra, because other things we do talk in class also. But your thing only you would know. None of us can talk about.
Fine.
Yeah.
So this, I just touched the Food Security Act, which was enacted by the Government of India in 2019. And that is the Right to Food Act. This seeks to provide subsidized food grains to approximately 2/3 of Indian 1.33 billion population. So the schemes of Government of India which were started, in fact, in that, if you see, there are many schemes, and for the Akshay Patra, there is the midday meal scheme, integrated child development scheme, and the public distribution system. So this figure in the Akshay Patra mode of working model, and in the scheme started by Government of India after the 2013 this NFCA. But first, I like to also mention the role of FCI. In 1965, the FCI was started, and it played a major role in the this food security. So we have states initiatives also, like we have the Indira Canteen, we have the Amma Canteen, and we have the this Chhattisgarh Food Security Act, and we have the Nala Bathu Foundation, which are also state initiatives. So government as well state initiatives we have seen. So there are large distribution programs. We have the PDS, the RPDS, the Targeted Public Distribution System, Annapurna scheme. All this work towards food security in India. So coming to now Akshay Patra. Akshay Patra, as you know, it is unlimited food for education. So about us. Akshay Patra has the distinction of being world's largest NGO-run school lunch program. We are the largest NGO run in the whole world, running the school lunch program. Our midday meal program is an attempt to feed billions of children in India who lack the means but have the zeal to learn and achieve. By feeding them one wholesome meal a day, we give them the nourishment and motivation they need to pursue an education for better future. It is our endeavor to reach out to every child at the grassroots level of the society. So Akshay Patra, what is the role behind Akshay Patra is that when we provide food, the student or the child doesn't have to think about the hunger, it is being taken care of. So the whole time he is being dedicated his mind and his body and energy towards learning process. So once that need is taken care of, it liberates him from that fear of being hungry in the day and devoid of anything else. So he can concentrate on the learning. So there is the part of Akshay Patra which plays. We have a vision that no child in India shall be deprived of education because of hunger. That is our vision. And mission is that to feed 5 million children by 2025. So as of now, we have reached 1.8 million in 2021 end. And now in 2029, our mission is to reach 5 million children. In fact, we started with 6 schools with 1,500 kids, which came down to 1.8 million. And now Akshay Patra aims to feed 5 million by 2025. Akshay Patra is also aligned with the below UN SDGs, Sustainable Developmental Goals. That is the quality education, zero hunger, good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, and no poverty. So Akshay Patra is also aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, if you see. So I wanted to link that to Akshay Patra, as we are also linked with the UN in attaining these goals. Now coming to Akshay Patra, the goal 2, that is the UN Developmental Program, with Akshay Patra is aligned to is zero hunger. Midday meal program ensures parents send their children to school with the hope that the children will receive at least one full nutrition meal a day and addresses hunger needs. The quality education impact studies revealed MDMs increase school enrollment, regularizes attendance, decreases dropout rate, and promotes continuity in school education. It enhances concentration levels and improves performance of children in academics and other school initiatives. So, by this quality education, it states that he is totally concentrated towards his learning efforts, and he is continuously engaged in that learning process without thinking about the hunger. So when the food, he knows that the food is coming and the food will be served to him. So he doesn't have to worry about his needs for hunger. There is where Akshay Patra comes into picture, that there are more students are enrolled, regularized attendance is there, and there are hardly any dropouts. So which promotes learning and at the same time takes care of the hunger. So good health, well-being is with Akshay Patra days 2. dietary norms stated in the central MDM follows a cyclic menu, serves freshly prepared and locally palatable food meals on each and every day. We are actually serving on different menus for the week in our different kitchens, where we have served 3-course or 4-course meals in the MDM program. And it is laid down norms by the government that for the upper primary and the lower primary, what are the calories and what is the protein serving should be there in the per meal for the kid. So in the lower primary, it is 450 kilocalories and 12 grams of protein. And in the upper primary, it is 700 kilocalories and 20 grams of protein, which is the dietary norms to be served in the midday meal program. So we adhere to that, and we make our menus, our recipes such a way that each and every day, all this is delivered to the child in a one meal, which we are serving during the lunch hours or the morning hours, depending upon the timings of the school. So MDM also promotes education and empowers children to become resourceful and skillful adults in the future, impacting all sections of the society. So it really promotes growth and resourceful and developed skill in the adults, finally when they become adults, and has impact on the sections of the society. Success goal 8 leads to inclusive progress and promotes equality in society. Thereby, this brings about equality in society because everybody is learned, everybody has got his education, and he is now become an adult, and now he knows his responsibility towards himself and the society, and thereby he can contribute in a big way to society and security of the nation. Basically, our work, Akshay Patra, basic principle is Akshay Patra Foundation is non-profit organization which operates on public-private partnership model. Acts as implementing partner of midday meal scheme with firm support of government, we and government aided houses and associated organizations. We aim at countering malnutrition and supporting the right to education of socio-economically disadvantaged children. School lunch program has grown from feeding 1,500 to children to 2,000 in 2000 to over 1.8 million, as I already told you. So basically, we aim to counter malnutrition and supporting right to education at the same time for the socially and economically disadvantaged children. The midday meals to further to carry on, minimum or no access to nutritious food results in deficiencies of vitamins, as I told, and macronutrients in children as a part of MDM scheme, which is now known as this scheme MDM has been changed to PM Poshan Abhiyan. This scheme. The means are provided to lower and upper primary students. Akshay Patra through its MDM or PM Poshan scheme now serves freshly cooked nutrition meals to children in 19,039 schools of 13 states and 2 union territories. Through it, we have 60 centralized kitchens and 2 decentralized kitchens. And we have this in 13 states and 2 union territories. And the 2 union territories are Silvassa and Puducherry. As you see, midday meals promises always to enhance enrollment. More the number of students keep joining the schools, there are less dropouts. They improve the nutrition level, MDM. This develop academic performance and enhances even the performance of the students in their annual curriculum school activities. So if you see MDM, it aims to avoid classroom hunger. It increases school enrollment, increases school attendance. The school attendance is increased because there is food served, so nobody has to worry about the food. They come for the education, improves socializing among the castes, address malnutrition, and empower women through employment. It's always also gives indirect employment to women also through the MDM programs and other programs, sister programs which we run. We have 60 kitchens across India, Akshay Patra. 58 kitchens follow the centralized model, where 2 locations operate decentralized model. Preparation of delivery of food midday meals operate from on daily basis, keeping in mind 2 most important elements, that is hygiene and quality. Like we have the concept of the from farm to fork. The same way you can say the decentralized kitchens, we get the raw materials, we have storage of raw materials properly, we get our grains, and then we are processing the food in our state-of-art kitchens, which are partially automated, and at places it is fully automated also in certain sections. And we follow all the hygienic principles and rules, and with the proper recipes, we may prepare and process our food, which then after preparing and getting ready, which is hot and nutritious, is sent in our distribution vans, which are also hygienically packed food and utensils to all our schools as our distribution centers, so that that concept of from farm to fork is followed religiously at our end. We at Akshay Patra, all our kitchens are FSSA approved. Standardization of recipes are there. We have robust supplier quality management systems. We have ISO 18001 2015 certified certifications for our 4 kitchens in Gujarat. In Gujarat state, we have 9 kitchens. We have South Gujarat, where we have kitchens in Silvassa, Surat, and Vadodara. In centralized Gujarat, we have the Ahmedabad Gandhinagar kitchen, and then we have 2 hub and spoke kitchens at Mansa and Kalol. And in northern Gujarat, then we have kitchens at Jamnagar, Bhuj, and Bhavnagar. And this is our sort of network of kitchens in Gujarat. And we are ISO certified, and we follow stringent nutritional assay of our products are also tested in our in-house labs. We have NBS certified quality lab at Akshay Patra, where we are often testing for the calories and other nutritional requirements of all our meals and our recipes, which we are giving to our budding young children. So some pictures of our kitchens are being displayed here. If you see where we have this roti making machine, also see continuous roti making machine. It is giving delivers hot chapatis, 40,000 chapatis in an hour, and they are very hot because from one kitchen to other kitchen, generally we are about in Gujarat we are serving about 1 lakh meals in a day. So chapatis about 3 to 4 we give to one child, and so the number of chapatis are huge. So we need a automated sort of a machine where we can get so many chapatis in a short time. And we have a very enclosed system of manufacturing. If you see, there are chutes out there from where we put the vegetables and other things in our cauldrons or the cooking kettles. And once the food is ready, it is discharged, if you see the down pictures, into the vessels where it is being sent to the delivery vans. Other initiatives of Akshay Patra are feeding initiatives undertaken are Anganwadi feeding. This is the ICDS program, which is the integrated child development scheme, where we are feeding the children below the age of 4 years or 5 years, and the lactating mothers. We are taking care of their nutrition and their feeding norms, and try to help out as per the program of the government, aided program, the ICDS, and serve them in different areas of the state. Then we have disaster relief. Whenever any disaster relief is required to be done, Akshay Patra is called upon, and we are the front runners or the in that, and we always provide support from our side to the government and fighting any disaster relief or flood relief or any impact like that. Now, feeding programs for old age homes are also there. Then for special schools are there, feeding runaway children, feeding homeless, and subsidized lunch for economically disadvantaged. These are some other initiatives which Akshay Patra has taken, and other social initiatives undertaken are after class tuitions. Also, we have community health camps, health checkups, life skill programs, and scholarship programs we have. Coming down to COVID, I'll just take 5 minutes. Akshay Patra, as such, we are operating on MDM and ICDS programs for the school government-aided schools. But last 2 years, due to the onset of the pandemic, our schools were not running. MDM was also not in operation. So Akshay Patra was very closely related for the food relief efforts and for food security. We were running down and supporting from right from the start till the present times also. And foundation has served people of marginalized communities across the country and protecting them from hunger. We have turned our resources towards such food relief efforts. providing happiness meal kits to protect children from malnutrition. This happiness meal kits is sort of a carton or a box having different items in that, where it has groceries, which has oil, it has grains, it has a book, it's pen, and some other material with some other material and reading material for the kids. And it was distributed across the country to different schools. Like students were not coming to the school and there was no MDM running, but we ensured that they get the grains and they feel lively that something has come to their house. So all these happiness kits, which is having about 20 meals in that kit, like the total grains, if you convert into meals, it comes about 2 to 20. So those were distributed across the country in different schools during this pandemic time. And yeah, the students got their grains and their dietary levels through these happiness kits. So those were called happiness kits. And we also provided take-home ration kits to schools. Like schools are closed, so we were delivering these ration kits to the schools. And schools in return, the parents were coming during pandemic to collect these kits. Like this was THR very successful in Silvassa, where we were doing with the government, since it's a parallel scheme to MDM. And it has about 28, 24 meals in that kit for a month. So that kit, when it goes to the house, it takes care of the kids' nutritional and dietary requirements for that particular month. So that is called THR, take-home ration kits. And then we also distributed Shakti kits to Anganwadi centers, where the Shakti kits comprises of these fortified salts, milk powders, and other some oils, fortified salts, fortified grains, and certain protein supplements which are required for the lactating and the pregnant women. So in short, and then we had given grocery kits and this family kits across the COVID journey. So COVID journey was started in 2020 March. Food relief efforts started.
We have only 2 more minutes, huh?
Yeah, I'm finishing. This is the last slide. This the COVID journey. I'll just share with my fellow fellow students. Actually, it's very interesting. That's why I want to show this slide. That if you see in COVID-19, though we run MDM as a flagship program, but Akshay Patra carried on its journey in providing nutrition and grains and food to all the people vulnerable during this pandemic. And we put a lot of efforts right from March 2020 when we started food relief efforts, where we were distributing COVID meals to different communities and different areas in the country, across the whole country. And in June 2020, the Shramik trains, when we started, we started feeding the Shramik trains. Then the happiness kit we started distributing in August 2020. And by that time, there was a flood in Bihar and Assam, and we provided relief in September 2020 for Bihar and Assam. There Akshay Patra was totally engaged. Midday meal started for some time in between. So we again came back to school run program of providing midday meal. We started in between. And in that time, we also started our new kitchen, Jamnagar kitchen. And then Guwahati kitchen was also started in January 2021. And March 31, 2021, we crossed nearly 12.6 crores of meals served in 1 year. So Akshay Patra served 12.6 crores of COVID meals across the country to the vulnerable community or the society where food was not reaching them and they were deprived of this grains, and we took care of their hunger that time. And in May, if you see food relief efforts, statewide lockdowns began again, and second wave started. The Akshay Patra was very much involved in the immunization camps, drives. We served this COVID kits also to many people who didn't have the oxygen meters and the temperature thermometers, digital thermometers. So the people who cannot afford it was given kits to them. And we continued serving our meals and kits, and 15 crores meals we served till July 2021. And just to share with you, I'll just share on the map how Akshay Patra across a network of his 60 kitchens across the whole India in different states, in 13 states and 2 union territories, how we have served meals. That is 8.87 crore meals COVID meals we served in 2020, and in 2021 also we served meals, and now it has reached to, on April 1, the figure, since April 1, 2021, now the figure stands at 21.4 crore meals. Food relief efforts from Akshay Patra. If you see this map, through its various kitchens across the country, the names are also displayed. We have carried out all these activities just to take care of or play some role in the food security of our country, and to ensure that our people get the grains and the nutrition, and they are not deprived of the daily requirement needs. So with that, I thank you all, and we wish you all the best, and expect to start the school soon with starting of school reopening sanitization project, and carry on our journey of Akshay Patra, and with our vision of feeding 5 million children by 2025. So thank you so much. Thank you for being patient. It was a vast subject, but I wanted to cover some key points, so I took a little bit more time. But thanks everyone for being patient and listening to me. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And that was really a colossal effort that Akshay Patra is carrying on. And it's an amazing experience to see what all is being done by Akshay Patra and all the faculty members who are here from various institutes. First of all, a very warm welcome to all of you that you have come from all over India to attend this workshop, and we are very happy that you are here, and we hope that we'll all keep in touch so that we can organize things together also later. And I also wanted to say that it's a great experience to take your students to the Akshay Patra kitchens, especially those fully automated ones, because it's an amazing thing to see how they cook meals for thousands and thousands of students and supply them hot to different schools. You know, it's an amazing thing to watch. So maybe that's one thing that you want to do with your students, and you might want to give the students a project to go and visit the schools where Akshay Patra is providing the midday meals, and you will see what a great experience that is also for the students. So am I not correct, Mr. Gill? Would not that be a great experience for the students?
We would love and welcome any of you and all our children anytime, and we'll make a plan so that students visit our kitchens and see how the food is prepared, and even they will get an insight how nutrition and how well it is processed, and they'll feel like eating more of food cooked by Akshay Patra, which is hot and nutritious.
Yes, okay. So now I hand over the mic to Dr. Sunita, who will be moderating the question and answer session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Gill, for your wonderful presentation. Now the session is open for Q&A. There are two options of asking questions. Either you write your message or your question in a chat window of Zoom meeting, or you can raise your hand and then I'll ask you to say that your question in the meeting. Yeah, any questions?
Dr. Sunita, somebody is saying that they want the contact address of Akshay Patra in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I'll share with you our address and other phone numbers also, and I request students to contact ma'am and the other your teachers.
Or maybe Mr. Gadpe, who is here from Akshay Patra,
he's here.
Just write it in the chat so that anybody who wants to contact can get in touch with you.
Yeah, we'll give the numbers, ma'am, and address also in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
He's typing that in that.
Yeah.
Now, may I ask one question, since we are waiting for some questions to come? Sir, may I know, like, whether you said that there are 60 kitchens and the cooked food is made in those kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of a meal is served to these? Why I'm asking, because do you have any variation in that menu, keeping in mind the cultural differences, the background of children who are coming from different states?
Yeah, ma'am, we have this because of this culture and the regional impact of the states. Every state had its different menu. For example, if you see Silvassa in this UT adjoining Gujarat, they don't have the roti in the menu.
Okay.
So they have rice and they have dal and one sabji and one sweet. So it's a 3-course item plus one sweet. But in Gujarat overall, we have on alternate days rotis as well, rice, khichdi and other we have for the Gujarat food. Now going towards south, we have their sambar, their rasam and other things which are there in the southern side. And if you go towards Bhopal and all, in MDM we serve sometimes puri also, sabji also in one of the meals. So there is a variety of recipes and menus spread across the country, where you will find for different states there are different menus. And I would love to integrate all the menus and put in one slide to sometimes to see myself, because it's huge. Our country is such a big country, and with so many states and kitchens, it's a whole list of big booklet of menu. But it do varies from state to state. But we do take care that all those menus are designed as per the government, the norms which they really tell us to for the kilocalories of 450 and 700, and the protein that is 12 gram and 20 gram for the lower primary and upper primary. So
Thank
all
you,
these
sir.
things are taken care of. Yes, ma'am.
There is Akshay Patra, who is basically trying to get involved in this kind of a work. So, he's asking, how can an individual join in this mission to help or volunteer at personal level?
At personal level, we have this schemes also where a person can donate from his end, and he can help in catering to one child. There we have, it is open for any individual. That is rupees 1500. By donating 1500, he takes care of one child for 240 days. Like for 240 days, whatever meals are served, MDM. So that's sort of one way of donating. You know how you are associated with Akshay Patra. Otherwise, you can directly come to our kitchen, meet us, and support in some of the programs where we are going and educating children, and even when we are conducting some road shows or even some training sessions at the schools where we teach about nutrition and all. And we have our in-plant training, or you can say a 2-month or 1-month program for the people who can assist us in different areas and prepare us or guide us on subjects on which they have proficiency. So that is one way of also linking to Akshay Patra. And otherwise, we are very open. We are reachable from all walks of life, and under no discrimination. And anybody can come and see our kitchens, visit us, meet us. We are very much open and eager to meet anybody who's interested to come and see Akshay Patra and know about what Akshay Patra is doing.
There is a question from Parina Chisgar. She's asking, would you curb the problem of food poisoning, as there were, there have been such cases which were reported in the media? How do you curb this kind of a problem? She's referring to the
food poisoning. Food poisoning, ma'am, generally it happens when the food, it has been cooked for a long time, kept at uncontrolled temperature conditions, so the food starts degrading. There is microbial proliferation, microbial growth starts affecting the food or degrading the food. So it breaks down our carbohydrate, protein into this smaller versions of it, and then finally this food poisoning starts in that. But at Akshay Patra, what we do, we have the system of cooking the food and serving hot food to the kids, so thereby eliminating any delay or storage. There is no storage, in fact. It is C2C, cook to consume, the concept. And meanwhile, our kitchens are also ISO 18000 22,000 certified, and we have daily hygienic and GMP rounds in our kitchens. We have checks at different levels. We check our equipments. We do cleaning, sterilization, and checking before we start our production. And once the food is packed, processed and packed hot, it is immediately shipped to the schools in our vans, distribution vans. So the food temperature when we serve to the children, it is above 65 degrees. So thereby we eliminate any poisoning which could even come after 24 hours. So our food is consumed within 4 hours, and temperature of serving food is above 65 degree, where we ensure that no food can get any food poisoning can come into the system or the product.
Thank you. Shubhangi Mehrotra is asking, are there any areas for growth areas for Akshay Patra where students can actively involve and contribute using their skills, their technological skills?
Students,
Yeah.
what we do, we always encourage students in a way, because we are serving to ma'am the lower primary and upper primary. So we always encourage students to visit Akshay Patra, see the kitchens, how the food is stored, the grains are stored, how the food is prepared, cooked, and then it is packed and sent to the schools. So the journey, the food starts from the grains to the finally cooked food, which try to show them and how it is made. So once they see that, they feel they have the zeal and the more hunger to finish the food when it reaches to them. They sometimes, most of the times, they are waiting for our vans to come, and the hunger is there to have that. No doubt that is at that level. Once the same students they pass or they reach to 12th and 10th, and they have so that identified their careers and all, we also give them certain areas where they can work, like on some subject if they want to work, like operational excellence is there, or quality is there, or you can say good distribution system is there, logistics is there. So they work on certain areas of Akshay Patra, and they can guide even Akshay Patra and make a report or give some suggestions to make the system more efficient. There we encourage students to do certain such projects, or maybe something related to recipe or nutrition or quality, or maybe something related to analysis, or maybe something out of the box innovative ideas which they can share with us, or some change they want, or while during their journey with Akshay Patra, while having food in different classes, they come across some things which they want to share, which we can improve upon. It's a two-way process, continuous process. So there we encourage our students. I think it is limited to that, but ultimately once they are entering into the college and all, they can do many projects with Akshay Patra, maybe in our utilities and maintenance also. Suppose they become engineers, they can do some course out there, do some project out there, maybe some project in the finance also, maybe some part in the warehousing and distribution also. And then the sky is the limit for people who want to do, and there is no dearth for opportunities. So we encourage students and even people on that front.
One more anonymous question here. Have you noticed any significant impact or an effect, especially at the grassroots level, after starting your mission? So what kind of a change in terms of, its impact on, say, it might be in terms of school enrollment ratio, or, those are the aims, the general aims of midday meal scheme. So can you share your experience with regards to those main aims of midday meal?
The midday meal, as I've shared in some of the slides, you should see, the direct enrollment has increased, in the government aided or run schools. You see more and more students are joining the government schools. There is less number of dropouts. People don't have to, their mothers don't have to cook food or make tiffin for them. The food is always there, that is hot. The main purpose is that sometimes if you see, they need hot food, and anybody would like to have food which is hot. In the offices when we go and we work, we have our tiffins, we put it in the warmer and make it hot, and then only we have. But our food, if you see, it is served very hot, above 65 degrees Celsius. But Akshay Patra, it has improved the health, it has improved the nutritional aspects of the students or the kids, and it has taken care of their dietary requirements, their protein and other calories requirement. In a way, once it is taken care, then that is being used in for the education part. So the hunger and education, they are totally linked to each other, what I have seen. So the Akshay Patra tries to do. So both are, similar, or they are giving analogy to each other. So with Akshay Patra, this hunger and this education makes the kids into a good individuals later on. And when they are learning and all, they take care of their own social needs. They can study further. They can set their things on what they want to achieve in life and make them a really responsible adult in the end. So in a way that takes care of the entire circle of the life cycle and make them responsible towards society. And there it plays. That's what I have seen, and it has seen very well proved also all over the world also.
Thank you, sir, for responding. We have to stop now because most of the questions now are related to their involvement. The participants, their students want to get involved and actively engage in this great work which your NGO has taken up. We have to begin our next session. So I'll hand over now proceedings of the session to Dr. Alika Parekh. Thank you, madam. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Gill, because this was very useful. And yeah, students have been asking who all can get engaged and how, but I think you have very nicely answered that for engineers and managers and people who are coming from the background of, say, economics or politics or whatever. So I think we have taken care of it.
Anybody is welcome, ma'am. And Akshay Patra, we welcome anyone. Everyone is welcome.
Yes.
And we thank you all for giving us a chance to interact with students and present part of ourselves. Though time was less, but we wanted to speak so much and share so much with our fellow students, because they are now the future of the country and the backbone of our country. And they need to know like what's happening in different corners of the world. And Akshay Patra is also playing its role in some way or the other, and we are also playing our part. So if the students know what Akshay Patra is doing, then our mission is successful. Our job is done. So if our students are taking care on those aspects also, some of them could be also working with Akshay Patra later on, maybe we never know. So it's a good way to know each other. And we thank you, and personally thank ma'am for giving an opportunity to speak and be part of your program. Thank you so much.
Okay, Dr. Sumita, somebody else wants to say something, you're saying?
Yeah, someone is just raised
Sheikh Shireen. Yeah, ma'am. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, Sheikh Shireen, you can unmute yourself, please.
Please go ahead with your question, Shireen.
No, I think that's
sorry, ma'am, it
some
was my
problem.
mistake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I think then we are ready to. Shireen, are you speaking? Should we wait for you?
There was a mistake on your part. There is no question that you want.
There is no question. Okay, fine. So now we will be starting with our next session. And I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Kumar Shailab, you are here with us? Can you please unmute yourself and come on screen, please?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Yes. Okay, fine. So guys, as I told you, Uplift is working on health issues. And so keeping with the format of the workshop, first, the context of the problem will be defined by the students of DICT, Fanil and Dhairya. And then Kumar Shailab will take over and he will talk about what Uplift is doing to provide health security to the underprivileged sections of the society. Mr. Shailab, I did talk about some work of Uplift in the introduction, so I'm not going to go again over that detail, and I will just hand over the mic first to the students, and after they give the introduction, the mic will be over to you. Yeah, so Fanil and Dhairya, please take over.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Let me share my screen. Can you confirm if the screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, hello everyone. A very good morning. Hope you are all doing well in these unprecedented times. Today, I, Fanil Kamdar and Dhairya Somya are going to talk about how health security plays an important role in the welfare of the people of the nation. COVID-19 has reminded us how a strong public health infrastructure plays a crucial role to combat rise in epidemics and diseases. To point out the current loopholes in our system, we found out it was more important to focus on the rural healthcare system of India. Now let's delve into some factors which affect the overall health security in rural areas. Accessibility of health services. Rural healthcare system of India is developed as a three-tier system, which includes sub-centers, primary healthcare centers, and community healthcare centers. As we can see in the graph on the left-hand side, there has been a stable increase in the number of health centers of each type in the last 15 years. However, if we do an in-depth analysis, we find that the rural population has increased by a total of 9%, while the number of health centers has increased by a total of around 6%. Also, as of today, there is only one sub-center between 4 villages, one primary health center between 27 villages, and one community health center between 128 villages, which indicates that the health centers are divided disproportionately between the villages. This increase in population demands for a uniform increase in the number of health centers on a regional basis. Now I will hand over the presentation to Dhairya.
Okay, thank you, Fanil. Now, the other major factor affecting the overall health security is shortage of medical personnel. As you can see from the graph, the shortage of manpower has increased in 2020 compared to 2019. Vacancy of male health workers in the health centers has increased by 37%, while of female health workers, it has increased by 14%. A quarter of health centers do not even have a doctor. So even with the accessibilities of the health services, how are they going to provide it? The current situation of the world has made us realize the need of a huge and on-hand demand for money to meet the medical expenses. For diseases that can be treated only in hospitals, the medical expenses are very high. So the poor are reluctant to go and do not take any treatment and often lose their life from the diseases that can actually be cured. To enable them to get these services, health insurance has been introduced. Whatever expenditure is made on hospital cure is reimbursed. This way, the poor also get access to good medical facilities. The most important health insurance by government is Ayushman Bharat. It reimburses expenditure up to rupees 5 lakh per family enrolled. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Fanil and Dhairya. Now the stage is over to you, Mr. Kumar Shala from Uplift India Association.
Thank you, Dr. Parikh. I'm able to share my screen. Just a sec. So before I start, thank you, students, for the update on the data on health security. Dr. Parikh has given a brief background on Uplift. I would like to, place the work that we do in the context. And as much as depressing and, number-wise, it will sound a bit overwhelming. I want to also make a point that in the last few years, there has been considerable change in the way, health is being taken care of. Of course, there's a lot more to be done, but we have seen that in the past, for the past 20 years, I've seen quite a lot of change in the way health protection has been talked about. And today, health protection is understood in terms of not just access, but also quality of care. So just by saying that, we have so many clinics and we have so many PHCs or hospitals, it doesn't mean that quality is delivered. So quality has more parameters than just number of institutions available for providing public care. And I will take you to the story as to how we got into doing what we do. So Uplift has basically pioneered what we call mutual health insurance in India. It's an alternative model of health insurance where people run their own health insurance. So there is no insurance company. The entire design is developed by people. It is managed by people. And the journey that we have taken for the past 17, 18 years has told us that unless people are made part of the problems that we want to solve, these problems will always remain extremely large to be solved. So I hope my presentation is now open. There's some problem with the PowerPoint. Just give me a second. So yeah, so coming back to the point, how we started this entire journey. In 2002, we were working with a group of women in the slums of Pune. And one of our community leaders, she was pretty young. She had to go through a bypass surgery. And we admitted her into a hospital. She was operated upon. And after a month of staying over there, we lost her. And the doctors were of the opinion that we had come in late. If she had come in earlier or got a checkup earlier, we would be able to find that problem and be able to solve it. What happened then was, her husband had mortgaged his auto rickshaw for some money. Her children became orphans in the sense that they lost their mother. And then they had this expense of about 3 lakh rupees, which, all of us tried to gather that money and pay off. What it told us, and it told us a lot of things, which are still very prevalent in the current system as well, is the fact that, people do not know where to go when there is an emergency. That is one. Secondly, the access to primary care is such that, even with all your PHCs, whether you have a PHC or CHC, it does not ensure that the people are able to access quality care on time. And that is something that we realized was a very big problem. And in 2002, after this event, we thought, let's do a survey with people and understand how big this problem is. We did a survey of about 1,000 families. Very surprisingly, what came out of that was, out of that, about 80% of the families said, हमको पैसा नहीं चाहिए, आप हमको सिर्फ अच्छा डॉक्टर बता दीजिए, कहाँ जाना है बता दीजिए, कितना पैसा लगेगा ये बता दीजिए, हम उसके लिए भी पैसा देने के लिए तैयार हैं. Now, it was surprising for us because we thought money was the number one issue when it came to, health security or health protection, as we call it. But what we found out was access to care, the asymmetry of information when it comes to access to care is so huge that the poorest generally end up paying 10 times or 15 times more than what you and us, will pay to the doctor, because they just don't know. And they keep jumping from one doctor to the another. The doctors keep telling them that ye test kara ke lao, wo test kara ke lao. The entire load of healthcare is so high when an emergency happens that many of the people that we know fall into poverty. And I think COVID was a very gruesome reminder of that, when we heard multiple cases where people were spending anywhere between 3 lakhs to 12 lakhs for a epidemic which had no cure. So I think a lot of people went through a lot of hard time, and this was more evident in the middle class this time. And simply that, how hospitals behave sometimes, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but it is known that, when a tragedy strikes, hospitals are the first ones to take advantage of it when it happens, especially with the poor. So we realized that within this entire model, what was the difficult part was this access to care, this information to access to care. And we at Uplift, when we went back to our research room and tried to understand what was not working, we found out that the data was showing that access to care was an important component of health security. And that access to care also meant information about कौन सा सही doctor है, सही इलाज कौन सा है. While we were doing this, we also thought about getting health insurance to our members, to our women members, so that we were working with the slums. And we called an insurance company in 2003 to talk to our women and talk about a typical product and see if that works for them. So we had a guy from the insurance company come over, explain a typical medical name product, and where he was talking about the premium, the exclusions, and all features of the health insurance. And then at the end of the discussion, he was like, you can ask me questions regarding the product. So one of our elderly ladies who was listening to the gentleman very intently, she gets up and says, I understand all this, that if I fall ill, I will get this cover. What happens to my money when I don't fall ill? I should remind you that, paying for something like insurance where the incident may or may not happen is a question that even middle class, upper middle class people think a lot. Most of the investments that are made into health insurance are, I will not count the last 2 years after COVID. I think there has been a very vast increase in the way people look at health insurance. But earlier it was basically a tax saving instrument. So for the poor to even invest something like 1,500 rupees per year for a family was, a very big amount. And they were like, what happens to this money when we don't fall ill? Now, this gentleman, insurance company guy, he was very upfront. He was like, look, when you fall ill, you are getting 10 times of what you have paid. So that is your profit. Similarly, when you don't fall ill, that money becomes my profit. It was a very straightforward answer. It is the actual answer. But what happened next was, really led us to think as to how this thing can be designed. And what the woman who had asked this question then said was, then I have no interest in being healthy, because when I am healthy, you are making money. It was a very powerful, kind of argument that we got to hear. And that led us to this, understanding that we need to do something else. We also then studied the market, understood that, health insurance premiums keep increasing. We have quite some, frauds happening in claims in health insurance. And health insurance is still a very small part of what people buy in terms of health protection. So even today, if you look at Ayushman Bharat has been able to provide some decent amount of protection when it comes to health expenses. But if you look at the number one way where how people solve their health security issues is by taking loans. And I wanted to bring this number to you. Sorry, my presentation is still not up. It's still showing. Anyways, I don't know what's the problem. But yeah, so the numbers, if I tell you the numbers, by the time 1 hour will be over, 7,000 Indians would have fallen below poverty line due to health expenses. That is roughly about 60 million Indians in a year. and this data is coming from government sources. So we have 60 million people falling below poverty line because of health expenses in India. And that is it's a mind-boggling number when you go to actually break it into, how many people are, actually becoming poor because of health expenses. And the other data that is associated with this very large number is the fact that out of all the health expenses that happen, 70% is out of pocket. And out of this 70% is on medicines and outpatient care. So what you see is typically that why people are becoming poor because of health expenses is because of their expenditure in medicines, outpatient care, and while we think that poverty only happens because, they have to pay, 5 lakh operation karna hospital mein jaake, that is not true. It is there. It is 30% of all our expenses. But the very large number of expenses that happen with concerns to health expenses is the outpatient care, are the medicines, are the diagnostic tests and things like that. And with the rise of non-communicable diseases like diabetes and blood pressure, this is even is becoming worse, because now we have families spending anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 rupees a month. Agar saas sasur hai, maa pitaji hai, they are spending anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 rupees a month on blood pressure and diabetes testing and medicines every month. So the burden of health expenses is extremely high in India. And on the contrary, when you look at health insurance, which is supposed to provide a kind of risk protection to people from health expenses, our penetration rate is still very low. Ayushman Bharat is a heavily subsidized scheme. There is no premium payment from the people, so it's a completely government subsidized scheme, and hopefully it will be further extended to other sections of the society, because between the top layer of the population, which can buy health insurance, and between the bottom component of the population where Ayushman Bharat actually works, you have a very large middle segment which either does not buy health insurance or does not want to buy health insurance for various reasons. It is the cost, it is trust. Many people don't want to buy health insurance because they have been cheated in the past. So we have a very large number of people, anywhere between 600 to 700 million people, who don't or won't buy health insurance for multiple reasons. And every time when we talk about security, a COVID-like situation happens, typically people lose their livelihood, people become poor, they are not being able to earn, and then health gets affected. This is almost like a cycle. It goes on repeating like this. So what have we done? So I just prepared the context in which we are operating. And when we started this in 2003, we realized that health insurance alone is not going to work, because health insurance has multiple problems also. I told you about the claims fraud and things like that. I told you about the focus mostly on hospitalization. Most of the insurance products only focus on hospitalization, whereas data suggests that outpatient care, medicines, access to care is a huge problem of the health security in India. And looking at this, what we thought was that if we could change the design principles of how health insurance works in India, maybe we would be able to find an answer to why people should not have health insurance in the first place, when it works so well, and it works better than loans, because in a loan you are indebted, you have to pay it back. And we did a design change. So what we have been able to do is the fact that we made 3 design changes. So one of the first design changes that we did was bring in outpatient care as part of the health insurance product. So as I said, typically most of the health insurance products are about हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन, आप बीमार पड़ जाओ, हॉस्पिटल में भर्ती हो जाओ, आपके खर्चे आएंगे, एंड फिर उस खर्चों का रिम्बर्समेंट होता है. दिस इज टिपिकल मॉडल ऑफ हाउ हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस वर्क्स इन इंडिया. What we realized was that there were three basic problems when you were talking about a health expense. One, people did not know where to go. That was one. Second, they would generally end up going to a hospital directly before going to a doctor, a OPD doctor, because either your PHC does not work, the doctor does not come, or the PHC timings are so, like that, where people cannot come in. Or there is nobody to talk to. Simply, there is nobody you can ask ki agar mujhe bimari hui to main kya karu. And that is where we created a model where we brought in three services. One was putting a doctor in the slums. We started working in the slums of Pune in 2004. We brought in a doctor in the slums. The doctor was supposed to conduct outpatient care in the slums. We gave the doctors a mobile phone saying that, you cannot switch it off. It should run like a 24/7 helpline. Right now in COVID, we have seen a lot of tele helplines, teleconsultation models come up. But this was 2004 where we decided that, the doctor can only be in the OPD in the slums for some certain time periods. The people need to access the doctor constantly. We started a helpline, and we also set up a network of hospitals because, as I said, there are always good and not so good people in every profession. So we set out talking to hospitals that, look, we are working for the poor. We are not asking for free care, but we are asking for good quality care at, reasonable rates. I literally have gone around multiples of hospitals begging, that you should work with us. We started with this as a model, and this was one of the first design changes we brought in. So we brought in outpatient care as a way of making sure that people first come to a doctor, talk to the doctor, and then think about hospitalization. So that was one design change that we brought in. The second that we brought in was the fact that we realized that health insurance has problems from hospital side as well as the client side. So hospitals try to raise the bill. They will, if they come to know that you have health insurance, they will raise the bill. Similarly, when people don't get claims for a year or two, they will like, oh, doctor के पास जाके उनसे बोल के कि साहब, डॉक्टर साहब, हमारा तो health insurance हमारा bill बना दीजिए. So there have been both supply and demand side frauds, which is one of the reasons why health insurance becomes dearer every year, apart from the fact of inflationary costs and things like that. Is the fact that there is a lot of fraud that happens. And we realize that if we bring the same model to this segment of people who work so hard to earn their livelihood, it will become unviable for them. They will not be able to buy, because every year health insurance premiums rise by anywhere between 10 to 30%. So we realize that if we have to really work on this, apart from working on the outpatient care, reducing the number of hospitalization, we also have to look at designing a model where people will feel responsible. They own the product. And that's how we designed the mutual governance model, where right from what premium has to be paid, what disease has to be covered, what cannot be covered, how will the claims be filed, who is taking decision on claims, all this is decided by people. And it's a system I'm happy to share. I can share links. We have videos made by the ILO and other donors who have worked on this with us, which shows how this model works. But what we figured out was that if people are part of the problem does get solved on a long-term basis. So we have today Uplift model reaches out somewhere between 300,000 to 500,000 lives across Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Rajasthan. And we have women in slums and villages running and managing these mutuals on their own. So they exactly run like an insurance company. Women come together, they pool the money in a bank account. It runs exactly on insurance principles. You have a policy, you have a product. The product covers anywhere between 15,000 to 30,000. Now we have just introduced a 1 lakh product. And these claims, they are processed how an insurance company will work about. And the women, the leaders, the community leaders from women are the ones who take decision on the claims. The third aspect that we brought in a design change, which is a problematic area for most of the community-based models, is data. We realized that running a health insurance thing should not be a romantic idea. Are community chala rahi hai, to kaise bhi chalega. No, this is not how it should work. It should be completely based on data. We are one of the first organizations in India to bring in software in health microinsurance, as we call it. And we used to share this data every month with our members. कितना पैसा आया, कितना पैसा claims में गया, कितना पैसा बचा हुआ, कितने पैसे का क्या हुआ, कहाँ गया वो. A lot of people told me that Uplift is going to be ruined because they are sharing so much of data with women and people. But I think the opposite happened, because we were sharing so much of data, because we were holding the the data points very clearly and explaining to people what exactly is happening with the product. We saw the decision making emerge as a very professional one. The way we manage our claims is at par with any international level claims decision are taken, primarily because we put in those systems, we put data as the deciding force. So if you would say, if it is a community model, aap to kabhi bhi product change kar sakte hain, nahi kar sakte aap. When you are deciding a product, it is for a year, because health insurance products are for a year. You cannot change that. And if it changes for everyone. There cannot be any exception. And I think this has been one factor why when we started in 2004, there were 55 plus schemes who used to call themselves community-based health insurance. I think right now we have 2 or 3 left, and we are one of them. So what we have shown is, through a series of health services, through making sure this, bringing this outpatient care, bringing this 24/7 helpline, and bringing this health prevention model as part of the health, protection. We have been able to demonstrate that apart from government and the commercial market, there should be a third layer of health protection, which should be run by people. And we have now extended this to schools. We are now experimenting with bringing health insurance for school children. We have just finished that experiment. Because of COVID, the schools got closed, so we could not complete it. But in our first version, we had roughly about 1,800 students who got covered in health insurance. This was a completely funded program. But what it did was it created an awareness, not just amongst children, but also in their parents, that they wanted to buy health insurance, that there was a product that actually worked for them.
Mr. Sailabh, about 2 more minutes or 2-3 more minutes? Sure.
Yeah. So I'm really sorry. There's something wrong with my presentation, just not opening. So so we have now moved on to a model where we are now creating a platform kind of model where different communities. So for the last 17 years, we have worked with different communities around Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Gujarat, building health mutuals for them. Right now, because as I said, we were one of the pioneers in the software thing for this mutual model. We're also building a tech platform where different communities can come together and set up their own health mutuals. So that's something that we are starting. We have just launched a product for one of the most vulnerable communities in India, that is the truck drivers. And this was primarily, as an after effect of what we saw during COVID, that truck drivers were running throughout the country. They were managing the supply chains, but they didn't have health insurance. So we have recently launched a product. Just last week, we onboarded 1,000 truck drivers. This will be up. And during COVID, we actually, brought our OPD systems to the public because they were only available for our members right now. But we realized that most of the doctors, the outpatient care, they were not available. You know, in the second wave, no doctor was ready to come out and have a, go with providing OPD care. Doctors were themselves either very burdened or they were very scared. So we brought in, we have now 5 vans running across Pune and Mumbai, where we are providing, where we, for the last 6 months, 7 months, we have been providing outpatient care. We have been doing outpatient care of about 30,000 people every month. And that has been one of our most powerful, takeaways from the work that we have designed in health security. And people, because COVID actually brought in poverty to those people who were not poor. These were people who were working very hard day in and out, but just there was nothing to, they just lost their livelihood. So bringing out healthcare for them has been one of the most, what I would say, beautiful takeaways from the model design that we have built. So yeah, that's that. And I will share certain links with you where you can see for yourself how this model works. You can go to our website, upliftmutuals.org, to read further. Whatever I've said is available on the website. Thank you, ma'am. I'm done, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Shalabh, I think there's just one more thing I think you should tell the students, because all of these are the ones who use the mobile a lot. So how you have linked the mobile and the insurance for the poor?
Yeah, so thank you for that. Actually, because my presentation is not visible, I'm missing those points. But we are one of the first movers in the mobile health insurance space, where today a member of Uplift through their mobile phone can see their policy, do the voting, governance voting, file a claim, see their policy details all through a mobile in their own language. So what we have done is that earlier we used to take about a month to settle a claim, because सारी औरतें महीने में एक बार मिलती थी. If you know the SHG movement in India, that is how women have been meeting on a monthly basis. So typically our settlement time for claims was about 30 days. Today we do it in 2 hours. That is also because of the fact that we add the account at the last moment, because too many accounts, we cannot keep all the accounts added. So we add only the accounts for where the claims are coming in. So it takes 2 hours. So today, if you come to the slum of Mumbai or Pune, you will see our members, women members. The only thing is that we have not seen the policy holders, the women members, using the app so much as their children, because most of them give it to their kids for playing games or watching YouTube videos. They generally keep the idiot phone with them and pass on the smartphones to their kids. But through this mobile thing, in fact, with the truck drivers also, we are doing this through the mobile. So they are accessing their entire policy through the mobile phone. They will be able to file a claim from anywhere in India through the mobile phone. That's how we are doing this today. That's how we are thinking of scaling this up to about 1 million people now.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And let me tell you that even if there was no PowerPoint presentation, you were very clear. So I don't think we missed out anything as far as the information was concerned.
No, but this is such a shame that I really worked hard on the presentation. I think now it's visible.
Yeah, still. Now it is coming up when you are already done. Okay, no problems. But so I just wanted to tell all the participants who are here, the faculty members and students, that one thing which we learn when we are talking about the service delivery system, whether you are management student or technologist or economist or whoever, is the turnaround time. That is, when a client reaches you, then you serve the client and the money is paid back, or whatever is supposed to be done for the serving that client is something which is called the turnaround time. So as far as the banks are concerned, they always try that they reduce that turnaround time. And so is the case with the insurance. But I think the fastest insurance that I have seen is the way the premiums are, the claims are being met by Uplift, because I don't think anybody can break the record. He said 2 hours, Mr. Shala? Yeah, 2 hours is like unheard of, absolutely unheard of by the most important multinational companies also. So this is one thing that I just wanted to point out about this. And the other thing that I also wanted to bring to the attention of the participants is that the saving groups model worked really well as far as India is concerned. And this is another way of doing the saving groups model, but using an innovation of scaling it up also. So these two are major takeaways that we take from this presentation. And now I will give the mic to Dr. Sunita, and she would handle the question and answer session.
Thank you, ma'am. There is already one question in the chat window. I'll just read that question. Adrika is asking, sir, can we access the database and the software which is created by your organization?
You can definitely access the software, but database is owned by the people themselves. So I have to go back and ask them. Data is oil, as you rightly know. So database for what? What do you want
research,
to do?
like if they want to take up.
Yeah. There is if you are asking for just the data of how we generate, a lot of. By the way, let me tell you, there are 30 international research papers written on Uplift. So there's already tons of data, because you should realize that we are one of the most unique models here in India to exist. So we have been extensively studied, and I'm happy to share data, but we will need to know what you will do of that data, because data belongs to people.
Mr. Shaila, you also might want to tell them about your data generated from the mobile vans, and if that can be available for research, because there are a lot of faculty members also over here from all over India.
Yeah, so we in the last 6 to 7 months, as I said, we have generated over 30 to 50,000 data points regarding outpatient care. Similarly, we have a lot of data being generated from our claims, and this is available if people want to study how things work, how specifically health related, preventive healthcare related models, if they have to be created. That's something that we can we'll be very happy to share.
Thank you. I'm just taking the liberty and asking you just a small question related to generally what is observed in the context of these community-based insurance schemes is that over a period of time, when it comes to participation of a member, that becomes, you're keeping them motivated for a substantially longer period of time. That becomes a really big challenge. So how does your organization, addresses that issue, poor participation on the part of, especially when you talk about that SEG based kind of approach, you find that women, because they are having other responsibilities at home, and their time, opportunity cost of their time is quite big, and therefore eventually you see them that that initial momentum it's not maintained in most of the schemes.
I think this is a very valid question, and the two models, we set up 9 models, Sunita ji, and we failed in 2 places. I generally speak more about our failures, but given what I was told to talk about health security, I did not mention them. Those failures were because of governance. They were not because the product was not working, or simply what I have learned is that if you don't have a strong governance mechanism. What do I mean by governance mechanism? When we share data, you have to take decision on that data. You have to come together, sit, understand what that data is saying, and take a call on it. And it's like any board meeting, in a company, you have board meetings where the CEO presents the data. So typically at Uplift, we present data to our board members, who are basically women from, these different communities that take decision on claims. What we have realized is that where we failed was governance, and where we succeeded was governance. So you are right, where we could not hold these meetings on a regular basis, where we saw that this quality of discussing, debating, fighting was not there. One woman used to speak and everybody was like, yes, 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 yes. Those systems failed. Where we had people fighting, women fighting, and you should come to our claims meeting to understand what that looks like. So we have women actually fighting because, it's money. You're deciding on money. So we decide on 2-3 crore rupees of claims. So you are deciding on money. And wherever we have seen that we have been able to animate this better, those are the community mutuals that are still, in vogue, and they're doing extremely well. So yes, it is. And what we have done also is, with after our learnings of where we failed, we have created certain rituals. They have to do it every month. So like today also, when today we are settling claims into us, we don't have claims meeting the way we used to have it, but every month these women meet together on a Zoom call. It's a very funny thing for them also, because the technology is still a big challenge. But what we have done is we have created those spaces, those islands within this process where women talk to each other. So whether it is a health event or a doctor talking to different women together, the idea is that you have to constantly provide value to your members. If you don't do that, it's gone. So I think it's still something that we are trying to learn with the mobile phone. How can we organize these meetings? But we have seen a better attendance because they don't need to travel all the way to come to a place. So we have seen better attendance on mobile phones, and we're hoping that we will carry this forward.
Thank you. One more aspect, when you target these groups and when you offer your insurance product, what do you find? Which type of group, men only, women only, or mixed group? Which model or which type of group helps you in maximizing the benefits of this community-based insurance?
See, we have been like the entire development sector, we have been extremely partial when it comes to women. We have started our work mostly with women, but we cover the entire family. So it is the husband, wife, grandparents. In our product, we don't have age-based premiums. Whether you are 8-day-old or 80 years old, you pay the same premium. So that's something that, again, I did not have the time to explain, but it's a design feature that has come from, after we have worked with women. So we primarily work with SHGs, cooperatives, SHG federations. We recently have working with FPOs. We are going into unions now, truck driver unions. So we are looking at anywhere where there is a pre-aggregation of people. But yes, we have been traditionally women-led. We give preference to the women first.
Thank you. Any more questions?
There is a comment that you will have to read for, I think Sangeeta Dubey has written something.
GST has impacted healthcare very badly and the insurance policies do not cover a large number. So what is the solution for this? I think, well, I really don't know because I cannot comment on behalf of commercial health insurance companies. I do not come from that background. At Uplift or in the mutual model that we have designed, I think, as I said, there has to be a solution where people can come together. By the way, mutual health insurance, while it is so unique in India, it's not so unique outside India. We have 30% of the world insurance market being run by cooperatives and mutuals. So Amul can easily become a health insurance company, for its own members, if we go by that logic. So as long as people want to come together and set up their own health mutual, I think that's the only way you will be able to answer these questions, because the industry moves at a very different pace. The law moves at a very different pace.
Yeah. Guys, Dr. Sunita, I'll just take 1 minute on this. Students have not been talking at all. What is happening? I don't know. Yeah, so many from different institutes, so many of you are there and none of you have any comments, any questions. please raise your hand if you want to say anything, even if you want to say thank you, even if you want to say that we liked it. Just something, students. Yes, Nitya.
So, sir, can you hear me?
Nitya, we can't hear you properly.
Okay. Is it better now, ma'am?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. So I would just like to know that the high cost of medical education in our country, like I tried to pursue medical and I realized that government colleges, the seats, at least 65 are reserved, 65% seats are reserved. And the cost of medical education comes to 1 crore rupees in our country. So do you feel that doctors are taking it as a business rather than a service? That medical education high costs have impacted our entire health industry?
That's a very sad situation of where we are with the medical education. Yes, medical education has become very expensive. I'm hopeful that with this government opening so many medical colleges, we will have more seats coming in. But I think it's a question of what I have experienced is that if you want to be a good doctor, you can be a good doctor and earn money. If you want to be a bad doctor and earn money, you can be a bad doctor and earn money. It's really a choice that I have seen. And because I work very closely with doctors, I have 5 doctors now, 9 doctors on my team, extremely dedicated people who, I don't know why they work with me at such low salaries, but they do. But my point is, at a scale level, I think with this government introducing more colleges, we will be looking at. The problem is we are a very doctor-led model. We don't need so many doctors. Honestly, we need people with medical knowledge at the outpatient care more than doctors in surgeries. If you look at the demand of healthcare in India, nurses can do a much better job of reducing the cost of care than we have. And I'm saying this from an insider's perspective. I know how hospitals work. But I frankly feel that there is too much of a focus on creating doctors. We should focus 10 times more than creating nurses, because we do not need specialist doctors for everything. Out of 10 diseases that we handle in outpatient care, 8 can be solved at outpatient level. We need to go for hospitalization only for those 2 cases. So I think till all of us wake up from this thing that we need doctor-led model, and also the fact that because of this hospital thing, the hospital empire kind of model, doctors are very I've seen a lot of good doctors suffering a lot because they know that certain tests or things should not be done, but they are forced by the hospitals to do it. And I think it's a very dark system, and we will get into something else from what we are discussing right now. Age-based feature, yes.
Sorry.
Should I take that question? Do we have time?
Yes.
So there is a question on the age kind of, we don't have an age-based premium. So Madhuparna, when we were designing this product in 2004, frankly, we had no idea how to do this. We were people who just wanted to solve a problem. And like idiots, we copied what was there in the market. So we had age-based premiums when we first designed the product. But as the process is, I took this product to women and sat with them and we were discussing ki ye kaise karna hai. A week back, I had discussed with these women the principles of insurability. Now, one of the first principles of insurability is the control over the incident by the insured should be least, and that is insurable, which means there how much chance is there that you will kill yourself? Very low. Suicides are very low. That's why life insurance premiums are very low. But how much is the chance that you will brush your tooth twice daily? Once in the morning, once in the. It's a behavior issue, and that's why health insurance premiums are higher, because it's behavior based. So when we said this, explained this age-based thing to this, because we just copied from what was there in the market in 2004, and we went to the women, sat with them, explained the design of the product. They said, Shala, you just told us last week that the control over the incident by the insured should be is least, and that is insurable. Do we control our age? So if you look at the principles of insurability and the question, I had no answers. So what they said was right. And I was like, yes, you don't control your age. Why should we punish you for, becoming old? And the second question, which was of social inclusion, was that after 60, this product could not be accessed. So typically, I think now it is 65 or 75. In some cases, they allow your parents also now to do it. But then and there, what we realized was that age was a very big exclusion factor in terms of. So we said, fine, we will remove this and check the impact of this on the product, because typically why people price it like that is that the elder generation consumes more, the younger generation consumes less of claims. That's why people say that when you are in your 2025, buy a health insurance so that you will you'll get cheaper insurance. But for the last 17 years, and I've been running this now for 17 years, it has not impacted us. Nowhere in our product, whether it is in Maharashtra, Gujarat or Rajasthan, we have age-based definitions. So आप 2 महीने के हो सकते हैं, 80 साल के हो सकते हैं, 105 साल के हो सकते हैं. एक तो आप इंक्लूडेड होगे इस प्रोडक्ट में और आपका प्रीमियम एक ही रहेगा. Actually, it is viable, if that was the question.
Thank you, sir. One last question from Tanvi. Tanvi, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Tanvi and I'm from Sapphire College. I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that when you talked about truck drivers being one of the most affected from COVID, I think it was a very non-conventional approach, because nobody really thought of them as, the category of people that could really be affected. So could you just throw some light on that topic? Like, how did you think of it, and what made you think in that particular direction?
Tanvi, you know that when the entire India was under lockdown, you were still getting your biscuits and cornflakes and everything, right? So there was, the supply chains were working at the back end.
Right.
And one of my friends and colleague, he was like, these truck drivers are, and they were picking, oxygen cylinders. And I'm not specifically talking about the oxygen cylinder guys also. They were, during this second wave, when the entire country went mad, they were literally picking with their bare hands oxygen cylinders from oxygen producers, putting it into the truck. And that truck was running into northern India, where they were just directly taking it on their back and supplying it to the hospitals. And that visual was something that struck us very hard. And one of our contacts, we asked them, do they have insurance for doing or whatever they're doing, because they will get exposed faster than any of us. While we are trying to save ourselves, they are picking cylinders from this one and directly getting into a hospital. And many times there is not even a proper mask on their face. So this was second wave. And they said, nahi, mein to aadhe se zyada ke paas health insurance hi nahi hai. And they are not even considered as frontline workers. So we have frontline workers getting injection first preference diya gaya, inko kuch nahi mila. So when we realized this, we said, no, something needs to be done. And my colleague who also runs a transport company, he said, Shala, bahut halat kharab hai. We are trying as a sector to organize a vaccination for them, but what can be done? So I said, let's start a health insurance for them. And it has taken about 3-4 months of very hard work working with them, because these truck drivers, inki life itni kharab hai, main bata nahi sakta. 20,000 रुपए मिलते हैं इनको, लेकिन इनकी जिंदगी बहुत खराब है, बहुत ज्यादा खराब है. और इस पुलिस से लेके, सरकार से लेके, एम्प्लॉयर से लेके सब कोई इनको एक्सप्लॉइट करता है. तो ट्रस्ट फैक्टर बहुत कम है. तो for us, it's a very big challenge to be able to introduce a product and do something. So we are in we have just started last week. The product just started last week with 1,000 truck drivers. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, it's one of the most vulnerable populations, and it's what I think they have a 20 million. We have 20 million or 80 million truck drivers in India. It's a huge number, but very, nobody pays attention. They're all political plus points. Punjab में जब elections होंगे तब इनके नाम पे कुछ बोल दिया जाता है. As people really don't care.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, sir. I saw Dr. Kanchan's hand going up. Do you want to ask, ma'am? You can just very briefly ask your question if you have one.
Yeah, because we have very little time left. So,
Dr. Kanchan? Okay. I don't think, by mistake, she must have raised her hand. Yeah, thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
yes, okay, fine. So thanks a lot, Mr. Shalab. We had a great session with you and learned a lot. And I request you to write down your either website or some email address or something, so that in case the students or the faculty members also who are here, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, then they should know how to get in touch with you. And with that, we end today's session. We were supposed to end at 12 o'clock. We are 5 minutes late, and I can see that a lot of students have left also. So, but thanks a lot. And tomorrow, remember, we are meeting at 9:55 because we have 3 sessions. So we will be tight in that. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks a lot, everybody, for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Students,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, students and all the participants. Kindly fill in the feedback form, which has been posted on the Zoom chat.
Right. And we can leave the meeting now, Dr.
Yes.
Sangeeta?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, please leave the meeting. Yeah.
Once you fill the feedback form, kindly leave the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.